Hello and a very warm welcome. You're with World Business Report. I'm Sally Bundock. So in a moment we're going to look at the property market in Beijing as well, just to give you a sense of how that's going. But let's start with South Africa, where the Parliament Speaker's considering a no-confidence vote request from the opposition of President Jacob Zuma. This comes after the country's Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan and many other cabinet members were sacked last week by the President, which has had a big impact. Let's talk you through the immediate reaction. So within hours of the Finance Minister, Mr. Gordhan's removal, the South African currency, the rand, fell sharply. It was down over 5% against the US dollar for the week. The share markets were also impacted, as you would expect, seeing their biggest drop since 2015, with government bonds and banking stocks hit the hardest. And the Finance Minister's successor, Malusi Gigaba, has called for a radical transformation of the economy, but as yet there's very few details of what his plans are. However, it's likely the cost of borrowing will increase further in South Africa, and that's because of a likely downgrade by credit ratings agency Moody's. It's due to deliver its verdict on Friday, and many analysts now predict South Africa could be downgraded to junk status. Well, I'm joined by William Attwell, Senior Analyst at Sub-Saharan Africa at Frontier Strategy Group. Good morning, William. And you yourself are from Cape Town.
Indeed.
So you know this economy extremely well. Just tell us how the economy is actually doing at the moment.
Sure. Thank you. We've shifted to a sort of low growth trajectory. Last year, analysts were looking at whether the economy would actually enter recession, but some of the indicators have turned around, and we've just been moving towards a slightly more positive growth. Still below 1%, but nevertheless in positive territory.
And there was actually quite a few encouraging signs, weren't they, about the South African economy with Pravin Gordhan at the helm in terms of finance minister. He had put in quite a few good elements to get the economy going.
Absolutely. He'd led several roadshows to meet the credit rating agencies, to meet investors, and this has really shifted around sentiment towards South Africa. And actually, the rand is one of the most improved and most strengthened currencies among emerging markets last year.
But we know that he's never had a great relationship with President Zuma. A dramatic cabinet reshuffle last week. Do we know more as to why?
Yeah, so importantly, this is all taking place in the context of the lead up to the ANC, the ruling party's national leadership election at the end of this year. And so what this represents is a power grab by President Jacob Zuma, both to try and control those access to state financial resources, which are important for his patronage machine, which really brought him to office and has kept him there, as well as silencing and sidelining some of his critics in the cabinet.
So let's talk about Malusi Gigaba. So what do we know about him and his experience?
Well, no financial experience whatsoever. He was the former Home Affairs Minister and didn't really achieve terribly much in that position.
And he's a supporter of Zuma, isn't he?
Absolutely, most critically. So what the rating agencies, what investors and the business community are very worried about is that he'll turn a blind eye to some of the corruption that's really characterized this administration.
And just very briefly, William, the vote of no confidence, will that happen, do you think?
I think not immediately. Parliament is not sitting at the moment, and the Speaker of Parliament is a close Zuma ally.
All right, we'll watch this space. William, thanks for your time this morning. William Attwell. Well, as I say, we will watch this space, and any news from South Africa, we will update you. But now let's have a look at the other big story dominating, certainly in Tokyo today. Toshiba